Welcome to this training session, hosted by Steve Lukey, the Industrial Hygiene Manager for Nextteq. During this session today, Steve will demonstrate just how simple it is to use the Nextteq detector tube system for measuring sulfuryl fluoride gas, a gas fumigant. Steve, what's the first item that you're going to demonstrate for us today?
John, I thought I would start with demonstrating how to install the Nextteq pyrolyzer to the Nextteq pump.
Okay.
And then we're going to show how easy it is to do a test measurement of sulfuryl fluoride using the Nextteq detector tube system.
Steve, is that actually the Nextteq pyrolyzer that you're holding there in your hand?
It is, and I thought we would start with the pyrolyzer because before an operator can perform testing with Nextteq's system, step number one is correctly installing the pyrolyzer to the pump.
Steve, before you start, can you take a moment and explain to our viewers the purpose behind the pyrolyzer?
The pyrolyzer heats up the gas sample, converting sulfuryl fluoride to sulfur dioxide before reacting with the actual chemicals in the detector tube.
Interesting.
This device should not be used in areas where intrinsically safe equipment is required or with atmospheric conditions that are flammable or explosive. The power button is located here. You can see it lights up when turned on, indicating the unit is operational and the batteries are good. The unit needs to warm up for 2 minutes before actual use.
Steve, the pyrolyzer looks extremely well built.
Yes, John, well built and rugged, but in some cases can be damaged if dropped, so users should handle with care. This is the Nextteq model GV100S piston pump. The Nextteq pump is required to be used with the Nextteq system, as all detector tube systems are non-interchangeable. Other acceptable models include the GV100X and the GV110S. Now I want to show you how to install the pyrolyzer onto the pump.
Okay.
First, unscrew the tube holder from the pump by hand. Then attach the tube holder to the black threading on the pyrolyzer. Ensure that the long rubber insert is in place inside the pyrolyzer.
Okay.
And then attach the pyrolyzer to the pump body by screwing in by hand. And you'll notice all the connections that I made were done by hand with no need for any special tools.
That seems easy enough. You now know how to assemble the Nextteq pyrolyzer to the piston pump. Next, Steve's going to demonstrate the correct procedure for installing the detector tubes used for measuring sulfuryl fluoride gas. But first, a safety-related question for Steve. Steve, share with us any health hazards associated with sulfuryl fluoride exposure.
Yes, John, sulfuryl fluoride is toxic in humans. In following a significant inhalation exposure, one may exhibit symptoms of fluoride poisoning. This can include, but is not limited to, nausea, vomiting, or fatigue.
Okay.
People who have potential for exposure to sulfuryl fluoride should be familiar with product safety instruction sheets.
Makes sense.
As well as material safety data sheets.
Steve, can you discuss the uses for this gas where your customers will want to perform testing?
Yes, a wide variety of facilities use sulfuryl fluoride fumigation to manage pests and bugs, including warehouses, mills, grain elevators, and food production facilities. Clearance testing is performed after fumigation following the applicator's manual instructions.
Steve, tell us about the Nextteq tubes used for testing for sulfuryl fluoride.
One box of Nextteq sulfuryl fluoride number 231 tubes comes with 3 tube components: 5 pretreatment tubes, 5 detector tubes, and 1 cleaning tube.
Okay.
A single box allows you to do 5 individual tests. Each test consists of a 2-tube system. When you have completed sampling, the cleaning tube is used to condition the pyrolyzer before storage. The white plastic tube connector is threaded onto the white plastic insert at the top of the pyrolyzer using the 2-piece clamping nut system. It is installed like this. Once hand tightened, this gives an airtight seal. The pre-treatment tube is installed in the pyrolyzer here. I'm going to break the bottom end of the tube and install it in such a manner that the flow arrow is pointed towards the pyrolyzer.
Steve, what's the function of the pre-treatment tube?
The pre-treatment tube is used to remove any possible methyl isothiocyanate or chloropicrin that may be in the atmosphere being sampled.
Interesting.
I have the actual detector tube here. I've just cut both ends. This tube gets installed in the center section of the pyrolyzer. The top end is capped with the tube connector. And again, with this tube, we have a blue arrow pointing towards the pyrolyzer, indicating the proper flow.
Okay. I noticed this isn't cut at the top either.
That is correct, John. The pre-treatment tube, I have not cut this in order to perform a leak check on the fully assembled apparatus.
Makes total sense.
The leak check is designed to make sure that we have an airtight system with all of the components. To perform a leak check, you pull a full stroke and allow the handle to lock, and we wait 1 minute. After a minute, the handle is unlocked by firmly holding the handle and allowing it to be sucked back into the body of the pump, with no visible red line appearing on the handle, which indicates a successful leak check. John, I've broken this tip, and this apparatus is ready for testing. If you don't mind holding this for me.
Certainly.
What I have is a gas sample bag with 5 parts per million of sulfuryl fluoride, and this was analyzed with a gas chromatograph.
Okay.
I'm going to connect the bag to the tube, open the test valve, and begin the test. This is a 4-stroke test. Each full stroke takes 1.5 minutes to complete, so it's a 6-minute test in total.
I see.
I can measure the time, or I can look at the flow finish indicator to understand if my 1.5 minute full stroke sample has been successfully taken.
If you've reached the full time cycle.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
All right, John, time for our second stroke. Now what's happening here is gas is being pulled in from the gas sample bag through the pre-treatment tube, through the pyrolyzer, and then finally into the detector tube.
Okay, simple enough.
So after 4 strokes, we will examine the tube for a color change of purple to white and get our measurement.
Excellent.
All right, John, we're going to take stroke number 3. All right, John, we've just finished our 4th and final stroke. Let's see what our results tell us. Looking for the purple to white reaction, I'm seeing that at 5 parts per million.
Absolutely. Yeah, very clear. It's right there on the 5. Very easy to see, very legible. Steve has completed his instruction on equipment setup and shown us how to use the Nextteq detector tube system in measuring sulfuryl fluoride gas. Steve, is there anything else we need to know?
Yes, John. Corrections for temperature or pressure may be needed. Consult the instruction sheets for the Nextteq tube number 231 to see if these conditions apply to you.
Excellent.
Note that temperature corrections refer to tube temperature, not atmospheric temperature.
Aha, that's helpful.
John, we want to use the cleaning tube to condition the pyrolyzer and make sure it remains in good operating condition. The pre-treatment tube is removed from the pyrolyzer. Pyrolyzer cleaning is required after each individual test. The cleaning tube ends are broken, and the tube is then inserted into the same position that the detector tube is located, which is the central position on the pyrolyzer, and is then connected to the plastic tube connector. Several 6-second pump strokes are used to flush the system with clean air. Please consult the tube instruction sheet that is included with your Nextteq tubes for the required number of cleaning tube pump strokes. The cleaning tube is reusable, so store it back in the box with the remaining Nextteq detector tubes after use. After cleaning, another sample may be collected, or the apparatus can be broken down, disassembled, and properly stored.
Steve, how about taking a moment and demonstrating how easy it is to disassemble the Nextteq components?
Sure, John. To disassemble, first the pyrolyzer is switched off, and then it's unscrewed from the Nextteq pump. Remove the connector tube, making sure that you have both pieces of the clamping nut system. Finally, the tube holder is removed from the pyrolyzer and reinstalled onto the piston pump.
Can't be any more simple than that.
The pyrolyzer and associated components may now be safely stored in a dry, dark place away from children.
Steve, thank you for showing us how to use the Nextteq detector tube system for measuring sulfuryl fluoride as well as the test demonstrations.
It was my pleasure, John.
And thank you for taking the time to view this video. Please keep this video running for a few more seconds because you will be told how to contact your Nextteq representative if you need additional information. This concludes your instruction using the Nextteq sulfuryl fluoride gas detector system. One last item to tell you about. There is an important warning you need to know and understand for your safety. Different manufacturers' detector tube systems are not interchangeable. Do not interchange or use Nextteq parts with any other detector tube or pump system. Doing so may result in property damage, serious bodily injury, and death. Voids all warranties and voids all performance and data accuracy guarantees.